Why my being is primary. When I heard this first from my mentor, who said, my being is primary, I was a little confused because I didn't know what he was talking about. Like, what is being? I'm so used to do things to achieve my goals. So what's the concept of being? And so I learned that being is the summary of all of our thoughts, our conscious thoughts and our unconscious thoughts and our feelings. So this is kind of the inner state that we have. Who I am being. Like, what's the energy? What are my thoughts? What are the feelings that I have inside of me? And they will dictate on the action I'm taking. So I will have a thought. This thought will be an embodied feeling. And from this feeling, I will react and take an action in the outside world. Right? So if I'm feeling anxious about something, or I have the thought I'm anxious about it, I will feel that uncomfortable feeling and I will react from that. And so I will create the world from the inside out. So that's the being. And, I was thinking, like, I'm doing all the time. I'm waking up in the morning, jumping out of my bed, getting breakfast, getting the kids ready, bring them to school, come back, started to work, doing all sorts of things on my desk and on my computer. And then I pick up the kids again and I talk to my wife and I have lunch and we watch a Netflix movie and I go to bed. And so the day is over and it was in doing mode. I was doing all the time. And I thought, okay, doing is what brings me success. Doing is what brings me to the place where I want to be, with reaching the goals. And don't get me wrong, doing is important. Without doing, just sitting on a couch, eating chips and watching Netflix won't do anything for you. And there is so much more to it. There is the being, and the being is even more important. And so the more I got into this kind of perspective of being that my mentor said once, my being is primary, the more I experienced the magic of it. So what does it mean in practical terms for my life? What I started to do, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I'm doing is I sit up straight in my bed and I meditate for 20 minutes. And this is a being work. Yes, it's doing meditation, but in the end, it's kind of an inner work. It's sitting in silence and feeling into that, what's coming up. I'm doing a Transcendental Meditation for years now, which is kind of a 20 minutes routine it's a mantra-based meditation, which really helps me to come down and really start the day fresh from this inner grounded feeling of peace and coming home. And so that's my being work, the first thing in the morning. And once I've done that, I switch into doing mode, making the breakfast for the kids and talking to my wife and bringing the kids to school. And I'm in the doing mode. And what also happened is, like, I came from this state of being, which is a completely different state of being after my meditation. Then I jump out of bed and I'm stressed and I'm just, in my head and in my thoughts. So that's the first one. And then when I come back home, before I start to work, I am being, again, my document. And the document are I am statements that I learned from my mentors, or I learned the process how to do it, and I have my own, where I am being who I truly am. And what does this mean? Normally we work on autopilot, and There are hundreds and thousands of thoughts that come up all day long, and some thoughts we believe. And most likely we believe negative ones that we tell ourselves, like I am not good enough, I am too weak, I never can make this happen, I'm a perfectionist, I need to do it right. Whatever it is, we all have our own thoughts. And so we're starting to believe that. And then again, the being comes into play, because if you believe I'm not good enough in your being, and you go through the world with that belief, your life will look different. You will experience life from the perspective of I'm not good enough. And all of a sudden things will happen that will ensure that you're not good enough. You will see all these things happening to you where it states like, oh, yeah, I told you I'm not good enough. That's right. That's who I am. I can't change. And that's not right. You can't change. And so my being practices having my document and saying my statements from my heart. And there are statements like, I am enough, I am belonging, I am a fun and loving and kind and patient dad to my amazing kids. And this is not something that, I just wrote down. This is a process I went through with all of my unuseful thoughts that I thought I am. And so in the end, I have my own kind of set of who am I, coming from love and from peace, and not from scarcity and from stress and from fear. And so this is how I am creating my being every day, with the meditation first and then with my document. And all of a sudden, I am someone different than just doing all the time. And this is what I'm seeing so many times with my clients. We're all in doing modes. We all believe if we do more, we will reach the goals. We will have more success. We will have a higher status. We will have more money. And most likely people don't feel fulfilled about that. So what I found personally is that the being, how you're creating your being, is even more important, because everything else will follow. Like last year was really transformative for me, and it was not so much about doing, it was because I was working on my being, right? And so let me ask you a question here. Who do you need to be to have everything you want in life? Who do you need to be to have everything you want in life? And I will leave you with that. Take a minute or two to just reflect on that, and you will see. Maybe it's not so hard to have everything you want. It's just a matter of seeing things from a different perspective first. And if you come from your being rather than what is it I need to do next, that might be a key to the magic kingdom. Loving you guys. Talk soon.